Hi everybody, I'm Ryan. Today we're going to look at Grixis Midrange, the kind of agreed upon best deck in Standard at this moment. We're going to look at what the cards do, the card selection in this version of Grixis Midrange, the overall strategy and play patterns of the deck. Let's do it. So this is the version of Grixis Midrange that Jabberwocky and Mogged have been playing to insane success in Standard challenges. And I kind of want to just go through this version of the deck, because this version of the deck, compared to other versions of the deck, seems to be a little bit more successful, or at least Jabberwocky and Mogged are just insane at this game. You know, whichever. We can kind of divide this deck into a couple different sections. We have counter magic. We have removal spells and reactive things. We have card advantage, some cards that kind of do multiple things and go into different categories. So let's look at our removal spells first. We're playing 2 cut down. You know, the 1 mana spell is worth the only being able to kill things with total power and toughness 5 or less. We have 3 Go for the Throat. Go for the Throat is a little bit sketchy after Brothers War because there's a lot of good artifact creatures, but it's still Go for the Throat is still an insanely good removal spell. Liliana, I even would argue, is in the removal spell category, being able to have target player sacrifice a creature, but also like this deck is really good at top decking. It's kind of like an old school Jund strategy deck. So if you can get both players top decking, the Grixis Midrange deck is probably going to win. And in the category of removal spell and card advantage, we're playing 3 Invoke Despair, being able to have opponent sacrifice creatures like Liliana, but also giving us giant card advantage. We only really play 3 because the issue with this version of the deck, and actually these newer Grixis versions, we can lean on these cards that cost 3 or less, but these like 5 mana and really 4 mana cards, big reason why Shieldred's in the sideboard, are kind of tough because we're playing the fast lands like Darkslick Shores and Blackleaf Cliffs and things like that, you know, along with these triomes. So we don't have a lot of lands that come in untapped after our 3rd land drop. As far as our creatures go, our dedicated creatures are Blood Tithe Harvester and Corpse Appraiser. Blood Tithe Harvester making a blood token and also kind of being a removal spell in and of themselves. And Corpse Appraiser not only just being graveyard hate, but also like replacing itself and being card advantage. So we can kind of put this in the we can kind of put Blood Tithe Harvester in the removal spell category and Corpse Appraiser be the first card in our card advantage category. Again, main deck Graveyard Hate is also excellent. The only thing that makes Corpse Appraiser really awkward is like sometimes you can't really play it on turn 3 because there's nothing to exile. It's just a 3 mana 3/3. But it being a body and getting card selection and card advantage is very, very good. To add on to our card advantage and card selection category, we have Reckoner Bankbuster, which kind of can be a creature because it's a vehicle, but it's like one of the best draw spells in the entire format. And of course, and this might even be in the creature category as well, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, making a goblin that can make treasures, so you can ramp yourselves. You can discard up to 2 cards and then draw that many cards, which is amazing card selection, and then exile it, and it becomes a reflection of Kiki-Jiki, which is insane in and of itself. There's some cool combos you can do with Reflection of Kiki-Jiki that I wanted to point out. If you have Blood Tithe Harvester out, and you're just chilling and have a Reflection of Kiki-Jiki without the Summoning Sickness on it, you can copy a Blood Tithe Harvester with Reflection of Kiki-Jiki, and since that copy has haste, you can then sacrifice Blood Tithe Harvester to give something -X/-X, but also when that token enters, you get another blood token. So very often, Reflection of Kiki-Jiki to copy Blood Tithe Harvester is just a removal spell on a stick, which is really incredible. And you can do a similar thing with Corpse Appraiser with exiling something from a graveyard and drawing cards. And since Reflection of Kiki-Jiki is not legendary, if you have 2 flipped Reflection of Kiki-Jikis on your opponent's end step, what you can do is tap it to copy a Reflection of Kiki-Jiki, have the new token tap to copy a Reflection of Kiki-Jiki, have that new token tap to copy a Reflection of Kiki-Jiki for as many mana as you have. And since it says sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step, they don't go away until your end step the following turn. So you're able to untap and attack with all of those tokens, very often ending the game. So there's a lot of cool plays you can do with Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Oh, I forgot about Bladecoil Serpent as far as the creature category. Bladecoil Serpent is just like a cool card. It's a big boy. It can have your opponent discard cards, but really we're playing it to like draw a bunch of cards and have a body similar to Corpse Appraiser. It's just like really good. I don't know what else to say about it. As far as dedicated removal, I also forgot about Abrade because I'm dumb. Abrade is really good. There's a lot of good artifacts, especially like being able to take out Reckoner Bankbuster in the mirror and then having the ability to also kill Corpse Appraiser and also kill Blood Tithe Harvester in the mirror and a bunch of other creatures. And maybe even in the card advantage or even removal spell category, I think Blue Sun's Twilight is in both. Blue Sun's Twilight is a really incredible card, especially since there's a lot of like mid-range mirror matches that you're really duking it out, and it's all about the card advantage and all about card quality. Blue Sun's Twilight is also an amazing way to play against Fable the Mirror Breaker. in that for 2 mana, you can steal their Goblin token and kind of be on the same page as Fable the Mirror Breaker. You're the one that can start to get the mana ramp, even though they're going to get the card selection when they untap with Fable. Or even being able to steal the Flip Reflection of Kikiji. He's really, really good. Or really anything. Like, the Blue Sun's Twilight is really strong. And then we have a slew of counter magic. Jabberwocky and Mogg always play some combination of different counter magic. Spell Pierce, just like low mana, being able to take out things like Fable the Mirror Breaker and whatever. Scatter Ray, counter target creature spell. Less control pays 4, right? Really good for creature decks for 2 mana. It's a better mana leak against creatures. Negate, just a better Spell Pierce for 1 more mana. And then 2 Make Disappear, which is just a slightly worse mana leak. Having a combination of different ones, especially since we have card selection off Fable the Mirror Breaker, draw a bunch of cards off Reckoner, Bankbuster, and Blade Coil Serpent, is pretty strong because we can kind of select what ones we want to keep in our hand. As far as sideboards go, Disdainful Stroke is really good against decks that focus on casting spells with mana 4 or greater, and we're really worried about that and have a hard time removing it with other things. Negate, obviously, is really good against decks with a lot of non-creature spells. It's pretty straightforward. Blue Sun's Twilight is, again, mostly for these Fable decks, so we can stay on the same page as Fable the Mirror Breaker, but also really good against, like, creature decks that are low mana costs, and and you can 2-for-1 people with them. Cut Down is really good against decks with a lot of things that it can kill in, normally very aggressive aggro decks. Duress, again, probably pretty good against similar decks that Negate's good against, besides these mid-range mirrors, where Negate's probably good because of Invoke Despair and Fable, where Duress probably isn't because you don't really want the hand destruction to be top deck in the late game, which is where almost all of these decks end up going. Go for the Throat. Again, you side it in matchups where it can actually kill things. Whack is really good in the Soldiers matchup. Being able to take things out, or really any white-based creature matchups is fine in the white mid-range deck as well. Shieldred, you side in basically against any deck that has a hard time removing it. It's really good against mono red. It's decent against soldiers. Basically, we don't have it in the main deck because since most decks are these black mid-range decks, and it dying to go for the throw, or like these other like really easy removal like Invoke Despair and stuff like that, or Liliana, is not where we want to be. Having that mana difference is like really, really rough. Brotherhood's End is mostly a board wipe for creatures, right, against a lot of these go-wide strategies like soldiers. Saheeli is like just a planeswalker that can give us advantage. It's really good against these decks that load up on 1-for-1 removal like the Mirror Match. And then we can just start getting an advantage off of these Thopters and drawing a bunch of cards off of Saheeli. Is really, really, we side this in against decks that have a hard time attacking. And then 2 Unlicensed Hearths for all of these weird Reanimator, Gix, Atraxa decks. Holy moly, please stop playing those decks. They're so annoying to play against and they're not good. Actually, they're pretty cool. I like them a lot. So if you liked videos like this and want to see more deck techs and explanations of cards in decks, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.